Hi, this is Steve Geyer, and this is the Widget Business Continuity Plan. What is a BCP? System Management Methodology and Disaster Contingency Planning 1992 Price Waterhouse defines the BCP as the identification and protection of critical business processes and resources required to maintain an acceptable level of business, protecting those resources and preparing procedures to ensure the survival of the organization in times of business disruption. So why do we need a BCP? Most important of all is a figure from Hiles and Barnes, 1999, that states 60 to 90% of companies find themselves out of business within 24 months of a disaster if they don't have a solid BCP. This figure seems high, but in today's competitive market, are we willing to bet against those odds? Engelman and Henderson, 2012, liken a BCP to an insurance policy. You hope you never have to use it, but if you ever do, you will be glad you have it. Engelman and Henderson also point out that the process of developing a plan has many ancillary benefits, such as providing employees a better understanding of the business resources, promoting cross-functional training, and certainly not the least of concerns is that a BCP could help avoid liability. Disasters. Hiles and Barnes, 1999, classified disasters into 4 categories. Number 1, acts of nature, things such as flood, fire, tornado, etc. Number 2, external man-made events, such as malware, supplier loss, or terrorism. Number 3, internal unintentional events, things like equipment failure, unintentional loss of data, those type things. Number 4, internal intentional events, things such as strikes, work stoppages, and sabotage. Hiles and Barnes go on to classify the types of failures. In order of importance, they are single component failure, interruption of critical information flow, interruption of critical business data, interruption of local business component, and finally, complete interruption of business. A business impact assessment. The purpose of a business impact assessment, or BIA, is to identify potential threats and what the impact would be if that threat came about. The reason for classifying the disasters and the failures is to get a better understanding of the value identifiers. What is really important here? To assess the risk and measure the real and not perceived impact on the business. So it really doesn't matter if it is a fire or a flood or a tornado that destroys your building. The bottom line is that the building is destroyed and everyone is going to have to find a different place to work. Also, if a virus crashes all the computers in the engineering department, say a total of 15 servers, this won't have the impact on internet sales that an unrecoverable hard drive crash on your lone internet server would have. This is a picture of the widget network topology. We have the unsecure internet zone, the IDMZ, the corporate LAN, and the security operations center. Keep this in mind as we go through the next few slides. The results of our BAA showed that Widget Corporation is the single largest producer of high-end widgets in the world. 65% of all sales come from internet sales. Another 10% of sales is generated from information on our website. The results of our BIA clearly shows that the loss or interruption of our internet sales and electronic storefront would have the greatest impact on the business. Protecting the number 1 impact. Our first task is to define what are the critical components of our internet sales. First, the ISP, then the network equipment, computer and storage equipment, and the data. We need to protect those 4 aspects. The ISP. The protection of the internet service provider is out of our control as far as protecting it. We cannot tell them what anti-malware software to run, what security practices to follow, or how to run their business. What we can do is have a ready backup, a second service provider to the internet in case the first goes down. To be as cost efficient as possible, we will load balance the two providers, and in the case of failure of one, we would still have connectivity. It'll be slower, but we'll still be able to operate. This seems to be a good compromise. Next, the network equipment. The network equipment on our side of the DMARC is within our control. We have full level 2 redundancy, which means that there will be no interruption in connectivity if the primary network device fails. We are also following best security practices by maintaining the operating systems and restricting management access to be behind the firewalls. Next, protecting computer and storage equipment. Like the network equipment, the computer and storage equipment has full level 2 redundancy. Physical access to the servers and to the network equipment is restricted to key personnel. Network access to the servers is controlled by firewalls and hierarchical access lists. Virus and malware definitions are kept up to date, run real time, and multiple software products are used to create a layered approach. Protecting the data. All data is encrypted on the servers. Business critical data is automatically backed up hourly, and all data is fully backed up nightly. All files are password protected and logging is enabled. Testing. Protection is only part of the story. No matter how well we protect our resources, bad things are bound to happen. To have a true and not false confidence that our plan not only works, but that the people know how to implement it when we need to test we need to test the plan. We run a BCP test every 6 months. The benefits of this are it keeps employees always having that BCP in the back of their mind. It keeps the BCP up to date, and findings from the test are rolled up and updated and used in updating the BCP. Most important, it verifies the plan. The testing will include partial and full data recovery from backup, a simulated hardware failure, a simulated network failure, an ISP failure, and ultimately a catastrophic failure, which basically is going to mean we go to Joe's house, crank up the server in his basement, and operate the storefront that way. Maintenance of the BCP. The testing will go a long way in keeping the BCP relevant and up to date. All changes to the architecture are done with an eye on how it affects the BCP. The BCP will be a living document that will change and update as the business and the environment changes. Conclusion. The business continuity plan is an insurance policy that is vital to us staying in business. An effective and well thought out BCP has many benefits besides minimizing downtime and disruption to business. It also promotes a deeper understanding of how all the different parts of the business interact and depend on each other. That was the Widget Business Continuity Plan. I am Steve Geyer, and thank you for listening.